The human brain is hardwired to find meaning in random events. It's a cognitive bias known as the narrative fallacy. It is a natural tendency to invent causal links and artificial tropes to make sense of a chaotic world. When we recall history out of order, we distort the facts to fit satisfying dramatic structures. A series of professional encounters becomes a bitter rivalry, or a standard career is molded into a hero's journey. This bias travels directly into our technology. AI trained on disordered human stories emphasizes favored viewpoints over reality, generating skewed narrative branches. But forcing data into a strict temporal sequence removes artificial narratives. The AI output instantly rebalances. To test this, we're examining two jazz trombone pioneers born in the same year, 1907. We will trace the careers of Dickie and Vernon Brown through a strict year-by-year historical timeline. By pinning their history to a chronological structure, we strip away the drama and reveal how their art, and the technology that captured it, actually evolved. In the late 1920s, Dickie moved to New York City to join Lloyd Scott's band, while Vernon Brown was navigating the St. Louis jazz scene hundreds of miles away. A standard story would frame these two as rivals on a collision course, but in a chronological view, we just see two isolated young men, quietly learning their craft in different cities. Both were limited by the acoustic era. Primitive mechanical horns captured the sound of the 1920s, often muddying the natural warmth of the trombone. By 1938, Wells had joined Count Basie's orchestra, a massive ensemble that required a specific kind of power and precision. That same year, Wells was fresh off a European tour, where he'd recorded in Paris with the guitarist Django Reinhardt. Simultaneously, Vernon Brown was finding his own success, taking a prominent seat in Benny Goodman's orchestra. Because this timeline has no designated main character, we are forced to observe both Wells's bluesy vibrato and Brown's smooth swing with equal weight. This capture was made possible by the RCA ribbon microphone. Invented in the 1930s, this technology finally had the sensitivity to record the nuances of their competing styles. Looking at this decade through the timeline, their distinct musical identities appear less as innate traits and more as direct responses to the specific microphone technology available to them at that moment. In the 1940s, the landscape shifted. World War II changed the culture, and the massive big bands that defined the previous decade began to disappear. Narrative tropes would label this the tragic downfall of the big band era. But the chronological truth is adaptation. Wells moved into the emerging freelance scenes of bebop and R&B. He leveraged the post-war invention of magnetic tape. These Ampex machines allowed musicians to refine their studio work with a level of precision that wasn't possible when recording directly to disc. Brown followed a similar path of adaptation, moving into the Dixieland jazz revival and performing with Louis Armstrong. When plotted linearly, the story of failure vanishes. Instead, we see the cultural and technological context shifting, and two musicians moving with it. While both men have passed, their influence persists in the modern day. Wells' expressive style is reflected in modern bebop trombone, while Brown's work remains a touchstone for contemporary big band arrangements. By strictly following the timeline, we successfully avoided inventing a fake rivalry or an artificial hero's journey. That lack of bias provides a more nuanced, context-rich understanding of these two men and the eras they lived through. This exercise suggests a structural safeguard for modern AI. By prioritizing the temporal sequence over dramatic tropes, we can help prevent algorithms from inheriting our instinct to force facts into satisfying stories. Challenge yourself to look past the stories you're told. Ask whether the media you consume, or the AI you prompt, is feeding you a dramatic narrative or the chronological truth.